I'm Kelly Vaughn, and welcome to Inside Indy. The month of October, we paid a lot of attention to domestic violence, and now we're into the month of November, and actually awareness about that topic should really never end. It's for every month. But we're going to address it a little bit differently in this segment of Inside Indy. We're going to talk about a book that deals with domestic violence. And I'm going to read an excerpt from the back of the book from someone who's reviewing your book, Teresa. It says, T.A. Beasley writes a gripping and gritty tale of toxic relationships and deadly consequences that every female, young and old, should strive to avoid. This piece of fiction filled with twists and turns is not far from the truth and serves as a lesson to all. And that's from Sharon Oliver, the author of this book. It Happened to Me. Teresa Beasley is in the studio with us today, and we're going to talk to her about the book and find out more about the twists and the turns. And wow, and this is a thick book, by the way.
Yes.
Tell us about It Happened to Me.
Well, It Happened to Me is about two teenage girls that deal with the loss of their fathers, and it ultimately changes their relationship with their mothers. So some of the decisions that they're making are not decisions they should be making. So they enter relationships and deal with different things in different ways, and ultimately causes a lot of friction.
Ooh, friction between?
Between the people they're in relationships with, between their mothers. So some things that happen, the perception that is received from like maybe a stranger, kind of intertwines, and it kind of starts them going down paths that they shouldn't go down.
Okay, wow. Okay. Now, typically, and I know you, is this your first book?
Yes, that's my debut.
Because you work to help other authors a lot in terms of getting them published, and that's your passion.
Yes,
right?
yes. I love helping aspiring writers publish their books, mainly self-publish their books. I'm a big self-publish advocate, so I'm all about the indies.
Okay.
Like people that like to do it independently, which is what I did for my book.
Okay, so what made you, you've been helping so many people, what made you decide, okay, I'm going to do It Happened to Me?
Well, the first manuscript started back in 2009, and then I kind of put it aside because I did start helping other people with their work. And then I picked it back up, and about 4 years ago, I finally finished it and said, okay, come 2018, I'm going to put this book out. I've helped everybody out, and I'm going to do it. So I finally got it all together, got it edited, got the book cover and everything done, and it comes out October 18th.
Okay. So why? Why and what inspired this book in terms of its content?
The inspiration comes from just me being an observer. I do a lot of research. So I observe like teenage girls, how they're dressed, how they walk, how they interact with adults, how they interact with each other. And it kind of sparked just the idea. So I said, well, a lot of teenagers now, the way they do dress and act, they don't understand that a stranger or even a person in their family might perceive how they're acting and what they're projecting. So they interpret it a different way, and a lot of times, sometimes that it brings danger. So that's where the inspiration from the book came from.
Okay. So give us, because of course we don't want to give away the book because we want you to go out and buy it.
Yes.
But give us, tease us a little bit with some snippets from the book that would at least give us more of an idea of what we can expect.
Well, at the beginning of the book, I will give that away. Delilah, the main character of the book, she loses her father to a tragic incident, and she blames her mom for it. So that is where the breakdown in their relationship comes from. Her best friend, Tiffany, which is a sub-story inside the book, her family, her dad doesn't die or anything, he just leaves. And she, in turn, blames her mom. So then that starts to break down in their relationship. So that's just a little bit of
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay,
Now,
so-
as far as the relationship part, the domestic violence part comes within Delilah's relationship with her boyfriend. And some of his actions, she realizes, should I stay or should I go? Maybe he's doing this just because he cares about me. But one incident that happens in the book ultimately tells her, okay, look, I've got to get out of this.
Wow. Okay.
So she
yeah.
kind of decides, nah, I'm going to leave.
Okay. Wow. And which is really brave, especially for a young person,
Yes.
because that's what we've been talking about on different shows this, especially for the month of October, about a lot of people don't even realize that they're in a domestic violence situation.
That's true. That's true.
That it takes a while for the victim to realize it, and of course, people around her are saying
And
that,
points it out, but
they
then
don't. They don't see it. So, why do you suppose that is, that people can't see it when they're in?
I think it's the denial. They know it's there, they know it's happening, but they don't want to acknowledge that it's happening. Just like with the character in the book, she didn't want to acknowledge that this was going on. She knew something was not right about it, but you know, when that person tells you, oh, I love you, I would never do that again. They believe that and say, okay, well, maybe it's not what I thought it was. So I'll just go ahead and stay. And a lot of times that's what domestic violence is. The person convinces you that they love you and that they're never going to do it again and that you should stay and we're going to work this out. But the cycle just goes over again.
Now, you talk about in the book how you have the two father figures. So are you saying that they play a major role in how we as women, whether we're young or older, how we process that information in dealing with a man, or in terms of how, you know, to be able to perceive how he's treating us, whether it's right or it's wrong?
Yes, most girls, and me included, we use our fathers as examples when we go into a relationship. Because every girl is looking for her father when she goes into trying to find a boyfriend or a husband or a partner. We think of our fathers. So if I can find someone like my dad, then I'll be fine. But sometimes you think you got your father, but you really didn't get your father.
Oh,
You end up
okay.
getting something totally opposite. So a lot of times I think girls do go into relationships with their father's image in the back of their mind.
Okay, and that's a deep statement you just make there. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about your book, It Happened to Me, but also about our fathers and how much they play a role in terms of how we perceive the world and how we allow the world to treat us. Okay?
That's true.
Okay, when we come back. And we're back here on Inside Indy, and we're talking to author Teresa Beasley. She's helped so many other authors get published, and now she's published her own book, and it's called It Happened to Me. And a huge part of this book deals with domestic violence, and we're continuing our conversation about how much fathers play a role in terms of how we perceive the world or how we perceive our relationships with men. You said we look for our dads.
Yes,
in a
we do. Most girls, I know I did when I was a teenager. I wanted someone like my father who was loved music, loved the church, but I didn't quite get that person when I did started dating. I ended up getting the total opposite of what I was looking for.
Now, is there a reason why that happens in terms you get the opposite? Why do you think that is?
I think in my situation, I got the opposite because I grew up not with my dad in my life. So I ended up with a relationship with him, well, when I was younger, but then when he moved to pursue his gospel career in California, I didn't get to see him as much. So then my perception and my image of him changed. So when I started dating, I started looking for guys that I thought were my dad, and I ended up getting some of the bad apples.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
and I think that was because I did have a little bit of abandonment issue there because my dad did leave and my mom didn't stay together. So I didn't
Oh,
get to
okay.
build that father-daughter relationship.
Okay.
As far as like Delilah in the book, she's a daddy's baby. She's really close with her dad. So when she loses her dad, it causes a different reaction for her. In my incident, it caused me to deal with a lot of abandonment issues. So going into relationships, I think
Okay.
that's why I chose the wrong people.
Yeah, and that's why I was. That's what was my next question about. Okay, we talked about how you look for people who are like your dad, but what if you don't have a father who was there? And you answered.
Yeah.
You know that
Yeah.
question.
You kind of make up this image that you think that your dad should be, and then you go looking for that person, and then you end up not getting what you want.
So, what will this book? Does it teach us how to make better choices at all in relationships?
It teaches you the consequences from the decisions that you make when it comes to relationships.
Okay.
So when you find out what the consequences of her dealing with her relationships, I hope
Okay.
readers learn that we have to make better decisions.
But you know, I think what's interesting about what you're saying is that we have to make better decisions, but at the same time, nobody teaches us how to make better decisions. And let me give you, we talked about our fathers, and again,
Yeah.
we're talking about the book It Happened to Me, and I think what's interesting about the characters in your book, I feel some resentment toward my dad about not teaching me what I needed to know and what I need to know in this world, and not just in dealing with relationships with men, but a lot of relationships with people who just in general. But I remember him telling me, "Don't wear your heart on your sleeve." And I think that time I was dating somebody, and he was like, I guess he thought he was helping me, but what I really wish he had told me was about the games that people play.
Yes.
That's not everything somebody says that they mean it, that 95% of the time they're lying. And I almost feel like I wasn't told that because that they keep this information to maintain power. Is it just me?
No. There's other people that think like that too.
Am I just crazy? No. Okay. Any of that in the book, though? Do your characters experience anything like that? Like, I wish I had known better.
The secondary character does, Tiffany.
Okay.
She does when it comes to her father.
Okay.
Because in her relationship with her dad and her mom, she was closer to her mom, but in interacting with her dad, she thought some of the things he was telling her was true, and she found out that there was lies there after he left. So, I mean, so the characters, and as well as women in life, you don't get the male point of view if your dad's not in your life.
And you may not get it when they are.
Yes.
Now, there are certain standards that have certainly been set.
Right.
I want somebody like my dad. My dad, I thought, was really smart, and so that's kind of like the standard. Like, he's got to be really smart. It's just you don't even think about it. It's just like that's what I expect. Yeah, there's certain, but there were a lot of things that I felt like he should have told me and saved me and a lot of other people a lot of trouble. Yeah, and I kind of would like to have that. He's gone, by the way. He died in 1991, and I was pretty young when he passed away. But yeah, I hope to see him in heaven, and we're going to have a talk about that. Yeah.
Yes. Now, my dad is still alive. He's still in California.
Bless your heart. Okay.
But, yeah, even in conversations now, I still don't get the information that I would have needed back then. I've asked him questions about, different things, but He pursued a career, and that's what he wanted to do. And now we're building a better relationship now that,
Okay.
that I'm
You said he
older.
was a gospel artist?
Yes, he was a gospel singer when I was really young. So when he left to pursue that career with his group, the Drifters, when I was little. So, and he just never came back.
Okay. Let's talk about mothers
Oh.
and their role. Now, do they are the mothers brought up in the? I know the characters like, they're mad at their mothers or yeah. So
Yeah, they have.
What role do you think mothers play in our relationships, or our avoidance of bad relationships or of domestic violence?
Well, I think we look at our mothers more so as for them to give us an example of what being in a relationship should be like. And sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't. So
Because they don't know either.
yes, because
Okay.
if they're not taught when they're young, then how can they teach us?
Right, yeah.
So I really didn't look to my mom for information about being in relationships because I watched her relationships and I saw how disastrous those relationships was because my mom was in a domestic violent relationship.
Oh, wow.
So I saw that happening and I'm like, okay, when I get older, I am not going through that.
Okay.
I'd be darned if I let a guy do that to me. But you still end up in relationships where it might not be physical. It might be verbal.
So you went through that when you were younger?
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of going through the physical abuse, being in a domestic violence relationship, mine was more mental and verbal. So even though I said I wasn't going to be like my mom, I ended up going down that path anyway.
Are we seeing you in any of these characters in the
A
book?
little bit.
A little bit. I mean, she could have just said that from the beginning.
A little bit.
Which character? Or is there a little bit of you in both
It's a little bit of
characters?
me in all the characters. Well, except the males.
Right,
And the
okay.
moms and in the two girls.
Wow.
You'll see a little bit of my sassiness and,
Okay.
when you're young, you think you know everything, but you really don't.
No, right, yeah.
You really don't.
So what do you want people, do you want people to read this as fiction and I'm enjoying it and the twists and the turns or is there a lesson? And what is that lesson?
The lesson is be careful who you befriend, be careful who you talk to, and when you leave your home, make sure you're leaving it in the correct way. Because the main thing in this book is when you're doing certain things or your appearance or how you're acting or interacting with other people, the consequences might not be what you want them to be. Because the person that you're showing off for might interpret it the wrong way.
Okay.
So that's the main thing I want readers to. That's why I want a lot of young teenagers to read the book or either their parents to buy the book for them.
And Christmas is fast approaching?
Fast approaching.
So what a great holiday.
Great holiday gift.
gift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I wrote it for teenagers, and that's why the dedication in the book is to all teenage girls whose choices they couldn't come back from, who's made choices that they couldn't come back from.
How do we get the book?
The book will be available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, and Nook and Kobo. They can also get it also from my website, www.tabeasley.weebly.com. But mainly they can get it from Amazon.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Well, we're really proud of what you're doing and helping other authors and now writing your own book. Teresa Beasley of It Happened to Me. Be sure to get a copy for yourself and for your sisters and for your auntie and for your mom. Just go ahead and order a dozen of them, huh?
And your friends.
And
Don't forget your friends.
Thanks so much for writing this.
Thank you.
For joining us on Inside Indy.
And thank you for having me.
All right. We'll be back with more here on Inside Indy after this. Everyone wants their home to be safe and a healthy place. But where do you start when giving your home a safety checkup? Here with some tips and tricks, our host of today's Homeowner TV, Danny Lipford, and his daughter, Chelsea Lipford Wolf. Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, doing great. Glad to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Welcome to the show. Hey, I know you guys are getting started on a few projects around Chelsea's house that will make her home safer and healthier. What are you starting with? Where are you starting?
Okay, sure. Well, it's always fun for to get together with Chelsea and do a few things around the house, especially if it can make it a little healthier and a little safer, and in one case, a little more energy efficient, because what we're about to do is to suit up and head up in the attic and install some extra insulation. And what we're using over the existing insulation to make the home more energy efficient is rock wool. It's a mineral wool insulation that I've known about for years and years. It's made out of mineral and stone wool, so it really is very energy efficient, easy to use, and also real easy to install.
Yeah, that's right. All you need is put your safety gear on and cut it with a bread knife, and you're able to shape it around all the weird crevices in your attic, but then you can also just put the bats on top of your existing insulation. But Dad, the most important part is that it's fire resistant.
Absolutely, because it will resist the flames, and that'll allow you a little more time in the family to get out of the house in the case of a fire.
That's right.
Wow, that's good to know. And hey, I could use a little bit of that insulation as well to keep my home warm. We're hearing about indoor air quality more and more these days, guys. What rooms in our house should we focus on for indoor air quality?
Well, you always think of the kitchen and bathroom when you think about indoor air quality, and that hasn't changed. So come into my bathroom. I want to show you my vent fan. This is a vent fan I've had for 6 years, but I just upgraded it, and it's really pretty cool. It looks the same. It's the same vent fan, but I added speakers inside of it. They're from Brown, called Sensonic, and you just slip the speakers in, attach it with a couple of screws, and then plug in the wires, put your old cover back on. Looks the same, but you're able to play music. So we were listening to toddler tunes when I was bathing my kids last night, and they had so much fun, but you're able to play it over your vent fan and enjoy that shower experience. But if you're looking for other rooms in your house to improve indoor air quality, not just humidity, Dad's got some rooms for you.
Yeah, think about your home gym. If you have a home gym or someplace like that, closets, also another great example, and laundry rooms. What a logical place for an exhaust fan because of the hot, moist air you have in that room. But another room is here in the kids' room. We're also installing a full Sensonic fan. This is the fan, and then of course it has the module that Chelsea installed in the existing fan. This one will be pretty easy because we have attic space up above, and the most important thing is that you vent it all the way to the outside. So again, they'll have a little music here. She can turn on music for the kids when they're going to sleep, and it'll have a timer on it so that it can just kind of fade right out when they go to sleep. So good way of going on that.
Wow, that's awesome. You mentioned home gym. That's another project I'm working on. I need you guys to come over to my place, huh? Hey, what are some other ways to make your home safe and sound?
Well, one of the things nowadays is you have so many video camera surveillance type of opportunities. Some are a little more cumbersome than others to install, but Chelsea just installed one here. And I say installed, it was a matter of just setting this carrier core system on the shelf here and plugging it in and then syncing it with the phone. It's amazing the quality that you get out of this, but also you have one elsewhere in the home, don't you?
Yeah, I love how small they are. This one's white. I have another black one that's in my sunroom, and you're able to pull it up on your phone. This is the live feed. This isn't a picture. I'm able to, it's two-way communication, so I can talk to someone, they can talk back to me if they're in the room, and if you add your own SD card to the camera, you can record any motion activity. That way, if someone unfortunately breaks into your home, you have the evidence and you have them recorded on your camera.
Wow, and you're not going to believe this. I just bought a security system, so we are so in line with one another. What are some manageable things that a homeowner can do to make their home healthy?
Well, all of us here at Today's Homeowner always like to remind homeowners about changing the batteries in your smoke detector and your carbon monoxide detector. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize that if either of these units are over 10 years old, they need to be discarded and replaced. The good news, replacing this is very inexpensive, and now they all contain lithium batteries, so they'll last 10 years. That's something that's a very simple weekend project. Only takes just a couple minutes, but it certainly can provide a lot more of a comfort level for you and your family.
Okay. Wow. Good advice. So much helpful information. Where can we find more information from you guys?
Well, just drop by our website at any time at
todayshomeowner.com.
All right. Sounds good to me. Danny Lipford and his daughter, Chelsea Lipford Wolf. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thanks a lot for having us.
Yeah, thank you.